Good evening. It is 6:30, Monday, December 21st, 2020. This is the Kearney Board of Aldermen meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Shirley, have you had a chance to take roll?
I have taken roll. Everybody is present, and you have a quorum.
We'll move on to the consent agenda. Board, you see the consent agenda presented. Do we have any questions or discussion on the consent agenda this evening? Seeing no one move, can we entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda passes. We'll move on to Mayor's remarks. This evening, I want to start off talking about the Bill Scholl fireworks display and debrief and talk about some good news of the return of some unexpected funds. Bill Scholl and Mrs. Scholl is here tonight joining us, and he'd like to make a report and return unexpected funds to the city, which also gives us the opportunity to publicly thank him for his volunteerism and community spirit to brave that chilly night and give a few thousand residents a really nice treat. If you unfortunately did not have the chance to witness a fireworks show, it was a fun end to a great evening here in town, and we appreciate everybody's patience for the traffic. Who could have guessed that the turnout we had in downtown Kearney. We'll have a better plan for next year, and then hopefully more fireworks by Bill Scholl and all his volunteers. So I'll give the floor to Mr. Scholl at this time, and thanks again, Bill, for everything.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the board. I really appreciate the opportunity to have been able to participate. I think the fireworks went off quite well. I've also received several comments about how they were visible. It was a little surprising, but I think at least the comments I got back was it was unanimously liked and kind of added a little bit to the festive spirit. So I hope you will do the parade of lights again next year. I know there were some bumps in the road from logistics, but I think that the people who made it through the line and were able to enjoy some of the things that were here just totally and completely loved it. And I think it would be a shame if the city didn't do something like that again next year. And if you do, give me a call. I'll be happy to work fireworks with you again. The city originally gave me a budget of $7,000 for that. I have brought a copy of the invoice for the actual fireworks that were expended, and that was for $4,531. It originally was a little over $5,000, and the person that I purchased my fireworks from gave the city a 10% discount, which also helped. We had about $300 over and above that for some additional equipment that was required. We had to construct some new mortars so that we would accommodate bigger shells. We had safety equipment such as earplugs and glasses and flares and so forth. So the total was right around $4,850. And I took $150 for freezing my anatomy that night. So I'm happy, however, to return to the city a check in the amount of $2,000 and appreciate the opportunity that I had to work with everyone today.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
If I have any questions, be glad to see what I can do to answer them.
I don't have any questions. Are there any questions from the board?
I would just like to make a comment. I think that you did an outstanding and exceptional job. The display lasted longer than a half an hour. It was awesome, and I was out earlier today. We are still getting feedback and some wonderful comments about how much it was appreciated, and please do it again.
Well, I think it brought back some very pleasant memories because for those of you who have lived in the city for a while, that originally was where the city did their fireworks display, and it was a good old-fashioned fireworks display. We would have ice cream, we would have handouts for the kids. If it was an election year, the politicians who were in the primary would be there shaking hands like it was the last chance they had, and it probably was in some cases. But, and I think many people missed that, and I'm glad that the fireworks with
Yeah.
the Parade of Lights brought back some of those fond memories.
Added a wonderful note of festivity to the evening.
And it really set us apart from the other communities that have lighting parades. None of them have fireworks. So,
Yep.
you know, add a bonus there. I do think, as you mentioned, Mr. Scholl, you know, the Lions Club and all the volunteers, you know, that shot them off there when I was a kid growing up, you know, I think they, you know, appreciated being able to be in their driveways and still see it from home again. And like you said, it just brought back so many good memories from 40 years ago. So, thanks again, and we'll be in touch and count on shooting some fireworks off again this time next year.
That'll be great, and I'll give you a copy of the invoice, since you may need that for your own record. Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a couple that came out of town. They came to Kearney to see the lights. They kept getting turned around with the traffic. They never could make it through the parade. And they were really disappointed, so they drive up to Stables parking lot to sit there, and they saw the fireworks, and they said it was worth the whole trip. So even though they didn't get to see the parade because there was so many cars the way it was, they still thought it was a real worthy night to come out. Their kids really loved the fireworks, and they thought it was really neat. And they're actually from almost Polo. They came down here to do that, and they thought it was worthwhile just to see your fireworks.
Well, and I know there was a comment from some people at the retirement home who weren't going to be able to come out, but they were able to come out and sit on benches and so forth outside the home, and they really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the fun things about fireworks is it just makes people feel good.
Yeah.
I'll chime in. I had a nephew in from farther than Polo, I will say, from Phoenix, Arizona, that was in town. I hadn't seen him in 25 years, and he happened to be in town the weekend of the parade and the fireworks, and he was actually parked over here in the parking lot, and his comment to me afterward is like, the Midwest always shoots off fireworks. Doesn't matter what time of the year, they always have fireworks. So he was really happy to see fireworks, because apparently down there, they're pretty much banned. So he really enjoyed it. So you did a great job. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure, and again, I hope we can do this again next year. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next, under Mayor's remarks, I want to talk about a vacation and sick leave buyback resolution. Enclosed is a proposed resolution that provides for a buyback of a limited amount of vacation from those employees who exceeded the 80-hour carryover provision, or an alternative, a buyback of sick leave for hours over the 480-hour carryover provision. Last year, as the board is aware, we did adopt a new personnel policy that reduced vacation carryover from 160 hours to 80 hours as part of a plan to reduce the unfunded liability that is identified in the city's annual financial statements. We hope that this is recognized as a gesture of good faith and appreciation to our employees. This also benefits the city of Kearney as well, as I have been an advocate working hard to reduce that unfunded liability by taking this action. Any questions or discussion from the board? If there is none, could you read by title only, please?
A resolution offering to buy back a portion of employees' accumulated vacation and sick leave in excess of limits established by the personnel policy for the purpose of reducing an unfunded liability.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Pass, Mr. Mayor.
Motion passes. Thank you, board. We'll move next to item 3C, Craig Porter, Chris Shipley, Westwood Village, Tract F donation, and gonna ask the board to consider resolution. Craig Porter has offered to donate the Westwood Village Tract F lot that is the former location of our Westwood lift station. I I recommend the board accept this donation of land which cannot be used for a residential lot, but could be used by our park department as a future green space or a pocket park. Any questions or discussions from the board on this request?
If we accept this, I'm assuming that the city then takes care of the land,
Yeah,
mowing the yard and...
Yes, so since it was a previous location of a lift station, the city has continued to maintain it since it's
Okay.
no use to the current owners.
Okay.
But yeah, the city would continue to maintain it.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the resolution accepting the dedication of Tract F.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all that's necessary.
Yeah, sorry, I was waiting to see if somebody wanted to entertain a motion. We'll move on to 3D. I did want to share with the board, I was emailed a report from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources recently. They were in Kearney and inspected our water plant, water wells, and water towers. Thanks to our water department employees, no deficiencies were identified as violations. DNR does give a list of recommendations, as always, of which can be addressed without any major expenditure of time or money resources to the city. So once again, to our employees of the city water department, we really appreciate your continued performance and keep up the good work. So Donnie, congratulations to you and your staff.
Kudos.
Item 3E under Mayor's remarks, I want to talk about the Kearney School District Spirit Program to be included in the annual Justice Department's annual report to Congress. As we know, Rita Valenciano has been in Kearney, and I was lucky enough to have been proud to have been one of the representatives for the city of Kearney there. But they did contact us concerning the Kearney Spirit Program, which was conducted by the school district with various community support. The Justice Department wants to include Kearney in the annual report to Congress concerning issues brought to light by the NAACP and Kearney's actions to address those issues. The Kearney School District, our local churches, and many community leaders stepped up and did the right thing. And as I mentioned, I was proud to be been among them. The city has embarked on a follow-up program which has been delayed until the COVID pandemic has overcome. Obviously, we feel it's extremely important to have those meetings in person. While we have yet to see the Justice Department's report, they're requesting advanced waivers from several leaders and organizations, including the City Board of Aldermen. It's my opinion that we should want our story told and should welcome their outside view of our community so we can learn and address our weaknesses as well as build on our strengths. I would recommend the board make a motion of support to include Kearney in its report to Congress by authorizing us to sign the enclosed waiver.
I read this, but I wasn't real clear what we're waiving.
So essentially, we're allowing them to talk about their experiences and talk about what the issues identified by the NAACP that started this with the school district. So it's my understanding of the document that we're agreeing that they are able to discuss that in their annual report. So we're basically would not hold the U.S. Department of Justice harm by discussing the event or the original complaints that were brought up to the city of Kearney.
And it says that they can use our names, our organization names, information that would otherwise be considered confidential. So the names of students this happened to, things like that. So.
Pretty standard disclosure form. I've seen it many times.
Yeah, it's one that I didn't request council to review it, but if that's something we want to spend resources to do, the will of the
Not
board.
necessarily, I just
yeah.
want clarification.
No, sure. But I just want to make sure if we're not comfortable with it, then I'm happy to recommend we table it and have Brian Hall review it.
I would want to make sure that we're only speaking for ourselves and not for the students. That concerns me a little bit. I wouldn't want us to say, yeah, it's great to release student names. I don't think that's what this says, but I think we should be only speaking for the city of Kearney and not for all the participants.
Yeah, our waiver would be, here's the waiver itself, but if you, I trust the board read it, but it's,
They're seeking out,
specifically for the city of Kearney.
all of these different organizations they'll be getting waivers from.
And so, I don't know if any of the, out of this list, I've honestly not talked to any of the leaders, that they're also seeking this waiver from. My assumption is, and not to speak for the Justice Department, is that if they do not get assigned release from the school district, then they would not be able to, provide any of the information.
Well, I'm not opposed for us to sign it as for the city. I think that if you're comfortable with it, Mayor, as you participated, then I'm fine with signing the waiver.
I don't think he actually has to sign it until the report comes. They're looking for a verbal. They're wanting to make everybody aware that a waiver is going to be required. So, but because we go between meetings, I was going to ask that the board make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign it on behalf of the Board of Aldermen, which they list you guys specifically in that. They call out the mayor of Kearney and the Board of Aldermen as two separate organizations. So, it's difficult to have you guys come together without a special meeting. So, that's the expedience of asking you guys to have trust that the mayor will sign off in our best interest of that annual report. So, I don't know how the timing works out on that.
Alderman Barger, could I consider that as a recommendation,
Yes.
by the board member? Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I do have one item I want to discuss, that, is not listed on the agenda under mayor's remarks. I was honored to, attend the delivery of gifts with the Kearney Police Department Shop at the Cop program over the weekend. As we know, the board and myself supported that program this year by the Costantino Family Foundation, money that they donate to the city every year. We did donate to the Shop at the Cop program, and it was about 50 kids in the Kearney School District, I believe, that they were able to help this year to assist with Christmas gifts and a full holiday meal. So I did just want to make sure that our donors that, besides the Costantino Family Foundation, there's various donors in the community that made that possible, and our police officers that volunteered their time and some other resources to help make that possible. So I appreciate that. That concludes Mayor's remarks, and we'll move to the Administrator's report.
Mr. Mayor, we have Matthew Holt joining us this evening, who is with Assured Partners. The city changed insurance brokers in hopes of achieving better insurance rates in a volatile market. Deductibles have been increased by many carriers. Travelers announced that it was going from a $5,000 deductible to $10,000 deductibles, and from $50,000 per occurrence to $100,000 per occurrence on the deductible for wind and hail insurance. And these are big changes. Assured Partners sought quotes from a number of insurance companies and returned with a proposal that merits consideration. Enclosed in 4A of the agenda packet is what I was going to share with you guys, was page 4. I was going to put that up, but maybe we want to see Matthew. You can see him, I guess, on the screen. They identify the traveler's renewal at 6% increase, going from $205,000 to $217,000. They offer as an alternative to place our property with Chubb insurance while keeping all the other lines of insurance with travelers. to produce an annual savings of $19,000 per year, which is a 3% savings over last year's premiums. The savings could offset, well, Matthew, I'll let you explain that proposal to them, okay?
Okay.
If I could introduce you and you carry it from there, and I will put up the insurance proposals, page 4, that, can you see that on your screen there? Is that what you'd like me to have up, or would you like to have something else up?
That's perfect. That's fine.
Okay,
So, well, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You're fine.
So yes, we took over as agent midterm. We have a great relationship with Travelers. Travelers is one of the largest, if not the largest, writers and municipalities in the United States. We were initially told that there would be a 10% overall increase. I would say due to what we're seeing in the market, that's been pretty standard, especially with property heavy risks. Property rates have been going up, especially in this part of the country. Reinsurance rates, which all these carriers purchase in London, have gone up substantially over the past couple of years with all the global incidents that we have had. And they have to push some of that cost on to the policyholders. So any more insurance is kind of a global marketplace. So we did go out to market, many new markets who had not seen your guys' account before, and Travelers knew that. So Michael, who's also on here, was able to get a little down from their initial indication and come in around 6% increase. And I think some of that is also in the workers' comp with the experience mod that all carriers would have to contemplate. But we got an alternative option for just the property. And that is another one of the largest insurance carriers in the country. Their deductible is a little different than how Travelers would be. There is a savings of about $18,000 to $19,000 a year. Their wind hail deductible, instead of $100,000, would be the same as expiring with regards to the amount of $50,000. However, that amount applies per location, per occurrence. So if there was one hailstorm that damaged 3 buildings, the $50,000 deductible would apply to each 3. Looking back over the last 5 years, and Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we've only had one wind hail claim of around $13,000. So we wanted to provide this option for, we can't predict the future, but looking back, the $19,000 in savings would have made sense. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Michael?
I'm sorry. No, I don't. I think that's a great explanation. I guess what I would add is that, as a broker, we tried really hard to get these carriers to, equal, so I wanted everybody to be on the same playing field. The problem is that almost every insurance company has a different wind hail, I guess, structure or mechanism. And so it's really tough to get the insurance companies here in the Midwest right now to all have a similar wind hail stance. And so that's why we're kind of faced with this conundrum here of, okay, which one is better? Which one would be better? And it's a tough one. And that's why we got a proposal here with kind of 2 options. And I think it deserves discussion.
Does anyone have any questions? Because I know I kind of threw a lot out at you, and don't expect everyone to be insurance experts.
So I appreciate you explaining everything. Really, I guess, my question or my thoughts, and we'll allow the board time to ask questions or share their thoughts too, is to where I could appreciate the annual savings. We could, as it mentions, accumulate over, 5 years some money. Just looking at the risk analysis, one major event, with Chubb, that savings plus over 5 years will be gone. And so I know obviously, your business is all risk-based, right? And I wish we could all look at a crystal ball and guarantee what the next 5 years are gonna be. So it's my thoughts that we would consider the traveler's options, but I need to hear the board's thoughts and allow them to ask any questions. Board, do you have any questions or suggestions from the presentation of options?
I also kind of feel the same way about sticking with the travelers. The potential, that potential risk is, I think it outweighs the potential savings, because if there's hail, it's probably going to hit more than one of our buildings, and at that deductible for each building. So it just seems to make more sense to go towards travelers for me.
Yeah, we got, 6 buildings, something like that, and if, we have a microburst type thing that hit here like it did out in Kansas. It wasn't really a tornado, but it was a hard wind, and all of a sudden we got, roof damage and stuff from each one of these buildings. You're talking $250,000 versus $100,000. I don't know if I like that per building.
Yep. No, I thought about this over the weekend, and the more I looked at it, I was like, I have a feeling that they've got to go with, with the travelers. But again, our job as a broker is just to be independent and show you everything that was out there that we uncovered. And it's unfortunate that we could not, like I said, it is unfortunate that I could not get my Chubb person to get on that same level as travelers, as far as making it just per occurrence. I guess what I would say in closing is that, a 6% overall increase right now on insurance. I mean, believe it or not, I've got some customers that are dealing with a 30% increase this year. So it's a pretty solid renewal with travelers if you guys go that route.
Yeah, and we're not, we appreciate your work and you being a good partner there. Alderman Lehman, Barger, would you guys have anything to add or any questions?
Go ahead. I would agree with the other alderman here that with the number of buildings that we have, the saving, it's always nice to save premiums, but one occurrence over the entire town, because it's not, chances are it's not going to be isolated to just part of town, one part of town. It's going to cover the entire town, and one occurrence is going to take any savings that we're going to have for years after that. So I think based off of that, I would have to support the travelers. So
I would just add that in this year of COVID and all the craziness that we've had, I love saving money, but I'm not a gambler. And this could be a really big gamble for us, and I think responsibly we probably need to take the higher premiums and lower in the long term, lower deductible.
Matt, Mike, and Jeff, appreciate the presentation and appreciate you being able to whittle down and really work with travelers to lower that increase to make it minimal. Mr. Administrator, are you looking for a resolution?
Yeah, I am. A simple motion by the board to accept the $217,477 quote from Travelers presented by Assured Partners.
I would make that motion.
I'd second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you guys for joining
gentlemen.
us. Appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Yep, any questions, feel free to reach out anytime. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you got something for Matt?
I got some bills of my sons, I'll send to you, Matt.
All right.
Wrong Matt Holt.
Wrong Matt.
Next item under Administrator's Report, please.
Mr. Mayor, I haven't looked to see if Tom
He's
was
here.
able to
Yeah,
join
he's
us.
on.
Okay, well, enclosed in 4B of the agenda packet is a memo from Chief Kearney that reports on the opportunity to acquire 25 handheld Motorola radios that have encryption capabilities that will soon be required by Clay County in order for Kearney to continue to receive county dispatch services. It's just about a year off that it's going to be mandatory. And I think I'm saying it wrong when I say Clay County.
It's
I think it's
statewide.
the Mars system.
Statewide. Yeah.
Yes. And while there are maybe cheaper radios, none are as durable and dependable as the Motorola in our experience. As Chief Carey reports in the memo, these radios are normally costing $7,200 each. They can be acquired directly from Motorola Solutions for $2,750 each. And Chief Carey, if I can rescue me and explain any more or answer any questions of the board, I appreciate it. So I see that I don't have a video of you. Go ahead, Chief.
Actually, I'm still at work. I'm still at work and I'm out in my truck in the dark right now. I can get on there if you want. I'm
Oh, that's
usually in
okay.
the dark.
Well, enlighten us
But,
about how this came to be.
Okay, Mars is the area regional radio system. It's under MARC, Mid-America Regional Council, and the Kansas City Police Department. It's all area police departments are in it. So we hear and talk to all departments. Our dispatcher is Clay County, and they have to encrypt also. They've started their service. And during the summer in July, Kansas City requested FBI agents to come in for the protesters and the riots. At that time, they bought radios that are what is going to be required of us next year. And Motorola has taken them back because they used them for just a couple of weeks during the protests in Kansas City, which were all immediately calmed down. The radios were turned back to Motorola Solutions. They have 2 extra batteries, a charger, a microphone, and belt clips. And we have talked to them for a couple of weeks. I could get 25 radios, which we need for our officers, for in the station, and our school resource officer and our part-time officers. They will be encrypted by this time next year. In the end of December next year, everything has to be encrypted. That came from Kansas City when they had to go to encrypted radios that were assigned to the highway or to the FBI. So it's kind of complicated in how we got back to these radios, but a person who sold radios to area departments contacted me and said they had 50 of them. And I told them that I would want at least 20 or 25. And they discounted them because they had been in service about a month in July. We started talking at 3,200 and went to 29. And if we go ahead and get them now, they're $27.50 per radio. And it's going to be mandatory to buy these radios anyhow next year. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to save some money. And that's why I'm proposing this tonight, that we go ahead and get them and have them ready to go. And we can start using them immediately. And another thing, I'm going to approach Motorola Solutions about what to do with our old radios. They're obsolete now. They will be at the end of next year. So this is just a money-saving thing I thought that I would throw out there tonight and present it to you.
Chief, thanks for the report. I'll add a few things to the board. As I've been well aware of this requirement, Chief has done a good job of communicating. Anytime he knows there's going to be a big expense and knows that regulations are changing on items, he discusses it in our Friday meetings with Jim and I and Chief. I appreciate your work here, Chief, on getting them to sharpen the pencil. You know, this was a budget item that I was going to be prepared to work on next year. That was going to be, 3 times this cost. So, Chief, I believe that they also, being that new, still have the same warranties and everything, where they're essentially just a very lightly used unit. Is that accurate?
Yeah, exactly. They're not even hardly used, but they will have a warranty.
Are there any questions or discussion from the board on the proposed resolution?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Tom, this is Kathy Barger. Is 25 enough?
Yes, yeah, 25 is enough. We'll need 18 for on the road, 1 for the front desk, 1 for the basement, and then we have a school resource officer who we always furnish a radio to at school. And we're hoping to, 25 will be enough. Unless we can hire some people next year.
Well, I'm hoping for that too.
I think this is a win-win. It's a
Absolutely.
win for our police department, it's a win for their budget.
Yeah, no, I like it.
It's from researching it myself, it's my understanding they're going to these higher powered, higher encrypted radios for officers, so everybody out in Scanner Lane can't. A lot of SWAT teams already use it, high frequency systems, so people can't hear them. So it's a win for safety too. So if there are no other questions or discussion, can we entertain a read by title only?
A resolution authorizing the chief of police to sign a professional services contract with Motorola Solutions for purchase of handheld 800 megahertz radios with encryption capabilities.
So move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Chief. Thank you.
And
Thank you. I
board.
will give them a call in the morning.
Thank you, Chief.
I'll give Motorola a call in the morning and let them know. Thank you. And thank you for
Okay.
going with us Saturday.
Thank you.
Of course, Shop with a Cop Day is our favorite day of the year anyhow. So I'm glad you got to enjoy it, Mayor.
Yeah, Corporal Garton reached out and asked if I was available, and I was able to ride with Assistant Chief Hatfield, and what an experience. So thanks again for you and all of your staff and all the donors.
That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Great. We'll move to public requests and public petitions. We have a couple of items to discuss this evening.
Mr. Mayor, Ron Calger might be on here with us. I haven't been able to survey that list very well, but he is representing Craig Porter and seeking approval of the final plat of Dovecot Third Plat, a 31-lot single-family subdivision. The proposed plat and staff report is enclosed in the agenda packet. At their December the 14th meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously 5-0 to recommend approval of the plat subject to staff comments. After any additional comments from David Pavlich and the board's P&Z liaison, Kathy Barger, it is recommended the board consider approval of the enclosed proposed ordinance. So, Mr. Pavlich, do you want to address the board? I'm hoping you're on there too.
Yes, I'm here, and Ron Calgar I saw on the, he's on the participant list also. We've got, staff has nothing to add. It's 31 lot subdivision. It's phase 3 of Dovecot. This will be their last phase of that subdivision. I think their goal is to get approval of the plans and the plat about this time. They'll move to construction over the next couple of months, and we'll see permits pulled in the spring.
Alderman Barger, our Planning and Zoning liaison, do you have anything to add?
I don't. This was one of the most simple approvals that we've given in the last probably 2 years.
Okay. Board, any questions from the board to staff or
I got a question for
P&Z
Kathy.
liaison?
Kathy, what, what are we doing with tract A?
Is that the easement from the road?
Tract A is, Tract A is an open space tract. The reason Tract A exists is because there's not enough depth between the road and the north property line to have lots there, so it'll remain as an open space area.
Okay, but are we using it for water retention or anything? Because I see this utility come inside, that's why I was asking that.
No, I don't think so. I think it's actually a high area in that phase,
Okay.
top of the hill.
And the two streets do, I mean, they have the potential to connect somewhere in the distant future.
Any other questions or discussion from the board? Mr. Calgar, do you have anything to add?
I do not, Mr. Mayor and council. It's nice to see everybody again.
And likewise, sir.
I'd like to see that banjo.
You would like
If
to,
It's
it's
strung
just,
like a guitar.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
If there are no other questions or discussion, we entertain a motion to pass the enclosed ordinance.
I make a motion to pass the enclosed ordinance.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pull the board.
Okay, well, that's the first reading, I suppose.
First
And,
reading. Second reading.
the second reading, an ordinance approving a final plat of Dovecot Third Plat, a subdivision in Kearney, Missouri, and accepting dedication of right-of-way and easements thereon.
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now pull the board, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Holt,
Aye.
Alderman Lehman,
Aye.
Alderman Barger.
Aye.
The vote's unanimous, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We can move on to the next item under public requests.
Mr. Mayor, Shauna Searcy is listed on the agenda, but we have, representing, the KADC, the president, which is Dave Hink, and he's on here with us. The city's bond council, Gilmore and Bell, met with city staff and representatives of the Kearney Area Development Council and the Kearney Trust Company Bank President Scott Middleton relative to financing for the fourth phase of Innovation Business Park. This was brought up and reported, I think, at a meeting or two in the past, that this would come forward. As a result of that meeting, a proposed cooperative agreement has been drafted by the city's attorneys that would involve the city providing an annual budget appropriations of $30,000 for interest payments in the event the KADC were financially unable to meet that obligation. The expectation is this money will be appropriated but not spent, providing a backstop in case KADC cannot pay its annual interest obligations. And Dave Hink is in attendance. Shauna has gotten ill, and but he can explain, or someone can explain. I saw that Travis Hedrick's on there, and he's thoroughly knowledgeable as well about the business plan to develop, I think it's 8 one-acre lots that they believe are needed for future business development. So that agreement is enclosed. We also have invited Megan Miller of Gilmore and Bell, that she can answer any legal questions that are related to that, and I think she's on as well.
Hey, Jim, this is Shauna. Before I turn it over to Dave, who obviously can talk a lot better than I can tonight, but would you like me to share the preliminary plat map
You
with my
sound
computer?
perfectly healthy.
Oh, good. I'm so glad I do.
So much better than Ryan Marcotte does. So
Yeah.
he's not sick.
I'll share this. I didn't know if you wanted me to. After that, I will leave it to Dave to take it from there.
Oh, that's great. That's excellent.
Thank you all. Thank you all for
I did
having
not have
us.
that prepared for the agenda packet, I don't think, and it should have been in there. So thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Shauna. Thank you all for having me tonight and considering this request. So phase 4 of Innovation Business Park is about 11 acres that would be divided into 8 lots. Now, if you can see the print on there, they are 1-acre lots 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the south side, and then the lots 5, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are a little bit larger. They're between 1 to 2 acres, 1 to 1.8 acres. So little smaller lots. We are out of developed lots at this point. We do own phase 4 and phase 5 and have no debt on that at this point. And the last time that we got a development loan was probably 15 years ago, I'm going to say, maybe longer than that.
2002.
There you go, 18 years ago. So, you know, banking's gone through a few things over the last, the 2008 crisis and pandemic that's going on right now. So really to request, you know, the bank needs to know that we're going to have enough interest, able to pay the interest on this. And our budget really doesn't, we don't have extra money laying, you know, to cover an interest carry on this. And so that's why Kearney Trust was seeking some sort of a backstop for this. Now we're budgeting. We have done that. We paid for the engineering, and we bid this out probably 2 years ago, and it was going to be about $700,000, maybe a little bit more than that. And that's kind of where we've come up with our numbers. We expect if this is approved, and if the bank loan were to be approved, we would go back out to bid. Prices generally don't go down, so it might be a little bit higher, but we had some contingencies in the original bid, and we had a sewer line extension that is an option that we wouldn't have to do. While they're in there doing this phase, we can extend the sewer to be ready to serve phase 5. It would probably save us some money to go ahead and do that now. And that's why, depending on where the figures come in, we might go ahead and do that as well. But anyway, hopefully that gives a little bit of background about why we're requesting this, is really in order to get financing approval for the next phase.
Dave, thank you for that report. Board, I'll just share with the board that I did meet with Mr. Hink, Mr. Hedrick, and Mrs. Searcy, along with staff, about this request. You know, big picture, you know, to where, you know, we would have to put in our next budget consideration, you know, a line item for essentially guaranteeing $30,000 of interest carry on this debt. Obviously, big picture, 1-2 lot sales, you know, just in real estate taxes alone, you know, provides, you know, revenue opportunity for the city of Kearney and our other taxing partners in our community. I feel, you know, with Alderman Barter as our liaison to this board, and the board that is in place of the Kearney Area Development Council, continues to do a great job in overseeing these projects and innovation. And you know, it's easy for me to remember when it was nothing but fields back there to what it is today. I'd love to give Shauna the opportunity to have 8 lots to sell. You know, right now she has nothing to sell, so to where I know there's a little bit of risk involved for the city, looking big picture, you know, to me this is a no-brainer. So does the board have any questions, any items of discussion from Mr. Hink, Mr. Hedrick, or Mrs. Searcy on this request?
Do we know if we had any interest in these lots? Have we lost businesses because of not having lots available?
Yes, sir. I'll try to answer that one. We have, I feel like it can be, I hate to overstate it. You always hate to say we 100% lost that sale because of that, right? But I can tell you I've had at least 2 people say, well, that's not soon enough. And so whether they were ever going to buy it in the first place, they certainly don't even bother looking at it once they hear the timeline. And we've got a couple people now who are interested in this moment. Again, a lead is a lead until they sign a document that, those people really need a piece of land before they're willing to sign anything.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
There are no other questions or discussion items from the board. If you could read the proposed ordinance by title only, please.
An ordinance approving a cooperative agreement among the City of Kearney, Missouri, the Northland Development Corporation, DBA Kearney Area Development Council, and the Kearney Trust Company.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance approving a cooperative agreement among the City of Kearney, Missouri, the Northland Development Corporation, DBA Kearney Area Development Council, and the Kearney Trust Company.
Go ahead.
So moved.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pull the board, please.
Alderman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Holt,
Aye.
Alderman Lehman,
Aye.
Alderman Barger.
Aye.
The vote's unanimous, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Megan, for joining us, and we appreciate it. You were helpful.
Well, so
Even though-
much.
Thank you.
Accomplished.
Thank you.
Thanks.
She drafted the documents for us, Megan did.
Anything for you, Jim?
Don't talk to him that way, Megan. Come on.
Thank you to you all. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to open up some new lots. So thank you for your support.
Absolutely, it'd be positive for our community, so
Yep.
thanks in advance for your work there.
It's a good thing.
We have no public hearing scheduled this evening, no old business to discuss, but we do have an item to discuss under 8A.
Mr. Mayor, when preparing the resolution for vacation and sick leave buyback, it was recognized that the 50% liquidation rate for sick leave was omitted from the final draft of the new personnel policy. This was unintentional, and it is recommended to be corrected. It is also proposed in this amendment to address vacation benefits for the city, to offer more incentive to new employees by offering 1 week vacation within the first year and 2 weeks vacation within the second year. This benefit would take effect immediately. And that's been coupled with this. It can be separated if we need to talk about that more, because I want to emphasize the priority is to fix an unintentional error in the personnel policy.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Board, do you have any questions or discussion on the proposed resolution? There are no questions or discussion items. Could we entertain a motion to pass a resolution?
Shall I read by title, or do we?
Title only, that's fine.
A resolution amending Resolution 3-2020, the personnel policy, by amending the section on vacation by providing 1 week of vacation in the first year of employment and providing for 2 weeks of vacation in the second year of employment, and correcting and restoring the 50% liquidation of sick leave upon retirement or termination.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great.
Thank you, Board.
We'll go to Alderman discussion. Alderman Spencer?
I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year, and I hope that 2021 is awesome and amazing.
Thank you. Alderman Holt?
I just want to say how proud I am of everybody that really did make the parade special, because this was such a bad year, and a lot of people were stuck in, couldn't go do things, couldn't participate with their kids in sports and different things. And we've seen all these families that came out and were in their cars, and just see the little kids just light up when they saw the reindeer or they saw Santa Claus. And it really, I'll be honest with you, I'm getting older, it's kind of hard to get in the Christmas spirit, and that really got me in the Christmas spirit that night. Watching these kids and these families, these young families come through. It was really worthwhile and a really proud event for the city. And I'm not talking about just the city staff, I'm talking about everybody that participated. It was a citywide deal. Take my hat off to Kurt and the Rotary Club and for all of them that worked hard at putting that together, but it was just a special night. And I thought it was something that maybe this was a special year to start this off with, but it was a special night.
Yeah, I absolutely. I gave Dr. Ham a hard time because for the first couple of minutes, I honestly thought all the little kids were smiling and excited to see us on the board. But then, fast we realized it was the reindeer next to us. They didn't care about us.
That wasn't you.
That wasn't us. It was
Why
the
do you
reindeer.
think we were sandwiched between Santa and the reindeer?
Yeah, that's true.
Very nice message. Thank you. Alderman Lehman?
I do have a couple of things. First of all, to piggyback on the other comments, the parade was great. It takes a special occasion to get me to dress up as an elf, and so, but it was a great time. I had family in from Arizona, and their favorite wasn't Santa Claus. It was the Grinch, and so I don't know how many people saw the Grinch walking around, and it was very good. But it was, for a Kearney native, it was really great to see the community spirit, all the floats and displays downtown. I don't think anybody could have fathomed the traffic that we had for that parade, or the reverse parade. And I understand that there's people out there that didn't get to see it, that wanted to see it, and this is our first year. Nothing in the first year goes off without a hitch, and so this was our hitch, and so I'm sure I speak for the organizers that will learn from this and make it better for next year. So the other thing that I wanted to bring up, I was approached by some district representatives for the Heart of America Council of the Boy Scouts of America. So every year, if anybody's ever been involved in Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts, every year they have, except for this year, I will put that in there, they have, for the Cub Scouts, they have an event called Day Camp. Day Camp is for the Cub Scouts, and so they have a 5-day camp. It's during the day only, and the North Star District has, in the last couple of months, has greatly expanded. We now cover Platte, Clay, Ray, and Carroll County. So they were looking at a location that was more centralized for going everywhere from Platte County to Carroll County. And they spotted Jesse James Park. Jesse James Park and Kearney in particular is pretty much centralized in the new district. And they reached out to me because they know I live in Kearney, about the possibility of using Jesse James Park. Again, it's daytime only, no overnight camping. And so not wanting to speak for the city, I did reach out to our Parks Department. There are a couple of issues that could potentially stop this from happening, but what I want to say is this has the potential of bringing hundreds of people into our town, both kids, families. They come in during the day. They may spend money on food. They may spend money on gas. So this has the potential of benefiting our businesses. Plus, it brings people to our city and gets them to see Kearney. Some of them could be as far away as Carroll County. And so we currently have an ordinance that prohibits the firing of any weapon, I guess is the way it's worded, that produces a projectile. Day camp does have slingshots, they have bow and arrows, and they have BB guns. These are all in a very controlled environment. They have NRA trained range officers, safety officers, and so when I talked to our Parks Department and was told about this, it's like, you know, we're potentially losing a lot of money for our businesses, a lot of people seeing the city of Kearney. And so I wanted to bring this to the board's attention so that, you know, I understand that ordinance is there for a reason, but I have a hard time understanding the not being able to find some way for a controlled environment like this that these could be used. These aren't high velocity projectiles. These are BB guns that a lot of us had as kids. These are simple bows. They're not compound bows. These are slingshots. And I think they're willing to work with the Parks Department about locations that, you know, make it even safer if we're able to do something for that. And then the other thing that really kind of surprised me was the potential cost of using our park during the day, so it wouldn't interfere with any kind of concert or anything going on. If you have any idea, had any contact with the Boy Scouts, or we always leave the area as good as we came in, if not better. We follow a training called Leave No Trace, and it's there so that we don't leave a trace that we were there. So I wanted to bring it up to the board because we're losing out on a potential to have hundreds of families from Black County, Clay County, Ray County, Carroll County that would come in during the day to use our park and eat at our restaurants, buy fuel at our gas stations, shop at our local shops, and I hope that somehow we can figure out some way to make this work. So,
Alderman Lehman, if I could. Myself, being a past scout leader, and den leader, committee chair, you know, for 4 years straight, I took my son and several of our boys to day camp. And I know Alderman Spencer's probably done the same, and I don't know if anybody else on the board has. I'm very familiar with the controlled atmosphere, the safety precautions, how organized and how day camp, you know, the 12 months prior of planning, you know, what all goes into it. I do concur, we have ordinances on our books to protect the citizens for, you know, the safety aspect of our job. However, I also know that we have, granted, I guess maybe a special consideration for Jesse James Festival for projectiles. The exact details on that, I don't know. It could be apples to oranges. But what I would like to see is maybe, I don't want to shut the door on this by any means. I think it would be extremely positive for you and maybe some of the leaders that approach you to have some discussion with our Parks Department and Parks Board, and then obviously a discussion with the Board of Aldermen on this. I would love to see it welcomed in the community. If you know, any of the projectiles moved in a safe location away from trails and stuff, I have no concerns that they would do their due diligence and work with whatever recommendations we have. The one thing I will say is, I guess I'll end with, is the city of Kearney has been the beneficiary of dozens and dozens of Eagle Scout projects. So I think it's also short-minded of us to not consider some sort of concession for that purpose. You can look anywhere on our trails. You can look at anywhere, you know, the Lions Park, at McWhorter Park, and you're going to see projects paid for by Eagle Scout projects. A lot of times you'll see in day camp these older scouts, you yourself, I was a scout, giving back to the community and these young adults. So I would hope that if this is something that we can figure out, that the park board and staff and everybody would look big picture and take all that into consideration. And I guess since I shared my thoughts on that, does anybody else on the board have any thoughts on that?
Well, we did do the quick draw thing with the Jesse James Festival. That went fine. We didn't have any trouble. That was very well supervised. I too am familiar with the Scouts. I was made all the way to a Weeblo, not very far. So I mean, I am familiar with how the management of training that goes into these sites. So I don't have a problem with changing this or whatever, make it for maybe permitted for that week or whatever. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
I think to make an exception for something like this is well worth it. I know you've heard me say before, I'm very proud. Both of my boys are Eagle Scouts. They enjoyed all of that. It made a big difference in their lives. And wow, if we have the opportunity to impact that many young people and their life, I think it's a good thing that we could do. So I'm all for it if we can make it work for our Parks Department.
Let me ask if you could just continue maybe to work with staff and the Parks Board. I would appreciate that. I would encourage that.
Yep,
Do you have anything else, sir?
that's it.
Alderman Barker?
Well, I'm just gonna add that, I was very pleased with the first edition of our parade. I know Alderman Spencer's already started working on next year's plans, and, it was, I think it was wildly successful. It may be something that we did not anticipate. The joys of social media is that you don't really know who you're reaching until you've reached them. And so, I know that, some people were disappointed, and I'm very, very sorry for that. But for the people who were able to attend and to see the fireworks or to see the parade, I think they had a really good time, and I think stand by for next year because it's gonna be better than ever. And then also to say happy holidays to everyone. That this has been a tough year, and being able to maybe take stock for a minute and head into the next one with some renewed energy that we all need.
Yeah, and Jeff Spencer, Debbie Holt, Ed Barger. We had some board spouses that also helped out and did a lot of work on our float. And I think we all failed to mention that the board did receive the best group trophy, so I'm gonna bring that in here, and we'll display it at City Hall. Our Parks Department, I have to give credit where credit's due. Cousin Eddie, they got the most unique. They keep on talking about this People's Choice Champion Award, but that's they're patting themselves on the back, so that's okay.
Yeah. Battery was low.
But
That's what it said, battery, huh?
And then also, I mentioned the fireworks set us apart, that surely did, but something else that set us apart, that some of the other communities don't have is our department involvement. I appreciate all of our departments getting involved, and then our community involvement. So, that concludes Alderman discussion. Do we have a motion to adjourn our meeting this evening?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Everybody have a good evening and Merry Christmas.
How long did it take you to thaw out?